Welcome back, Midnight Readers. Today we're jumping right back into confusion in a small town. First, let's do a little recap as to what has happened up to this point, so everybody's on board. Alright, so we have the main MC who has two best friends. Best friend one is Jessie. She has a brother named Derek who had been away at medical school the majority of the time, up until this point. And then Jessie herself had a secret, and a year ago, right when her mom passed, decided to ditch town. She left one goodbye message and hadn't come back since. And then there's best friend number two. That's Josh. Josh liked guys, or so we thought. So the MC thought. Where, in fact, he never had actually said that. He alluded to it because Jessie, the other best friend, had tricked him into believing that was the only way he could be around the MC. Okay, so to current present time in the book, Josh has confessed after thinking that the MC was starting to like Jessie's brother Derek. He confessed that he has feelings for the MC and has always had feelings for the MC. She was shocked, told him, hey, I feel betrayed, you lied to me, I'm confused, this is something I'd wanted, but I need time to think, I need to process everything. And that night, he's given a pill of some sort by a friend of Derek's, Jesse's brother. So his friend gave Josh a pill. Josh took it, and then he went to the bar. He had a drink or two, and the combo of the stuff mixing in his system ended him up in the hospital. And now the MC is stuck agreeing to be his caretaker and kind of helping keep an eye on him because the doctors are a bit worried about his mental state. And she didn't want to say that she noticed anything wrong because she knew it was most likely because of her. So where we are at now is Jessie heard about everything. She came back to town after a year and confessed that she has always had feelings for the MC, and that's why she tricked Josh. And then when she found out her brother also liked the MC, she didn't even want to deal with it. Her mom had just died. She didn't want to come out to the family, and she didn't want to be in a competition with her brother. So she just bolted. And she also didn't want to confess that she had tricked Josh. So, because it was kind of a douchebag move. Anyway, so now she's back hearing what a mess things have become. She knows that it's the anniversary of her mom's passing, and that Josh is now, he's been in the hospital, and all this stuff has taken place. She tricks the MC, her best friend, she tricks her into going back to Josh's house after she kind of gets into it with Josh and handcuffs them together, right? So here the MC is thinking that they're handcuffed because of Jessie. Well, when she finally confesses to Josh that she's had feelings for him too, he says, you know what, I don't want you to feel forced to ever have feelings for me or whatever. If you really like Derek, I'll still be here as your best friend. Go ahead and follow your heart. And then he takes the handcuff key out of his pocket and uncuffs her. And she's like, what the hell? I just confessed that I do have feelings for you. And you tell me to go be with another guy. And you had the handcuff key? And that's where we left off. So she's kind of freaking out in her mind going what the shit? This guy, who's the game player? Who's doing what? Yeah, and so we're about to find out what the heck is going on and see where the MC's heart takes her. You ready? Let's go. Seriously? You're gonna tell me to see someone else? And you had the dang key this entire time? Was this all a game to you? See if you can get me to say that I like you? See if you could get me to confess my feelings and then be over it? I screamed at him. Hey, you didn't say that you liked me. And you didn't say what your feelings are. All you said was that I haven't lost my best friend. And if that's all I can get, well, it's better than nothing. He yelled back. Do you have brain damage? I just kissed you. What the heck do you think that means? Do you think that I go around kissing people for the heck of it? I fired back. Well, from what I heard, you kissed someone else earlier today, he said sarcastically. What is this? Some sort of big conspiracy? She kissed me. How do you even know that? And how the heck did you get this stupid key? I yelled. Calm down, he started to say. Don't you dare tell me to calm down. You still want to know what I think about you? I asked, still pretty upset. Yeah, he said, a bit taken back. I think you're one of the most frustrating guys I've ever met. The guy that has hurt me the most. The only guy that has ever made me question absolutely everything. And I hate all of that. And not only that, but apparently we can add game player to the list as well. I saw him look down, almost like he didn't want to hear any more, but I continued anyway. On the flip side, I love the way I feel when I'm with you. I love how safe and happy you make me feel. I love how you're my rock when times get hard. Up till now. I love how easy on the eyes you are. But you're not too cocky about it. For the longest time, I had wished you were straight. Now, I find it crazy how upset I was when I found out that you actually were. I should have been happy, but I was too hurt to let myself be. Now I'm scared that after I'm done pouring my heart out here, you'll have the power to hurt me again. I said as I started to walk away. I was scared to see his response after all of this. He grabbed me by the belt loop on my pants and pulled me back. Then where are you going? He asked as he wrapped his arms around me, hugging me tightly. He kissed me, and it was perfect. Just how I imagined it would be. As we walked back to the living room, I noticed my phone on the bar. It wasn't where Jesse had left it. I picked it up and noticed that I had one new message. It read, "On my way." It was from Derek. I scrolled up to the message before to try to figure out what he was responding to. The preceding messages said, "I'm really confused right now. Would it be too much to ask for you to come over and give me that kiss that your sister suggested? You know, to help me figure things out?" That message was sent from my phone. From me. But I hadn't sent it. The next message read, "Are you sure that's what you really want? I don't want to complicate things for you right now." Then there was another text sent from my phone. "Yes, I'm sure." Next thing I knew, there was a knock at the door. I knew it had to be Derek. I wanted to explain to him that it was all a big mistake before it was too late. I said, "I'll get the door." Josh smiled. "Okay." I opened the door, and before I could say a word, Derek dipped me back and kissed me. I was stunned. I hadn't expected it. Not like that, anyway. I felt awful for thinking for a split second that if Josh had been gay, that kiss would have been enough to persuade me to start dating Derek. In that moment, as he looked into my eyes, I felt things that I had never felt before. I jumped when the bathroom door slammed behind me. I started to say and then stopped. I actually couldn't figure out what to say. "Nothing?" He questioned with a big smile. I felt embarrassed and didn't want to hurt his feelings by explaining that it had not been me who had sent him the message. No, it was perfect, but this isn't a good time right now. I continued as I glanced back towards the bathroom door. "Oh," he said. I could tell by the tone of his voice that he felt out of place. "I think I better go," he said as he slowly turned and walked to his truck. Immediately I texted Jessie. "What did you do? What were you thinking?" She wrote back right away. "Trying to help you decide." Irritated, I put my phone back down. In my opinion, she had proven to be the worst best friend in the history of best friends. I tried the handle to the bathroom door. It was locked. "Josh, listen to me. I had no idea he was going to show up and do that." "Okay, I had an idea, but it wasn't my fault. Josh, please." I pleaded half in panic. It was silent for a moment. Then the toilet flushed, and the door opened. He looked at me as though he were expecting me to say something, but I didn't. I wasn't sure what else to say. "It doesn't work that way. You need to make your decision," he said with a straight face. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Who's it going to be?" he continued. I was irate. I had just told him that Derek showing up wasn't my fault. What more did he want? Did he seriously not trust me? He didn't even want to hear what I had to say about what had just happened. I was far too drained and in no mood to deal with any more drama at the time. After what I just confessed to you, and telling you that I had no idea Derek was going to do that, you still question me? Wow, I really can't believe that," I said as I stormed out. Once at my car, I realized that I had no idea where I wanted to go. Both of my best friends were nothing but drama. I left Derek feeling awkward and confused, I'm sure. I didn't want to go home and deal with any roommates, so I drove around for a while. I finally decided to go see Sharon. I parked down at the bottom of the trails and hiked up to her grave. I was surprised to find Derek sitting on the bench. He looked over at me. "Sorry, I'll go if you want to be alone. I just wasn't sure who else to talk to," I said. "You know I'm always willing to listen." He reassured me. "Oh, actually, I was coming to talk to her," I said, pointing to his mom's grave. "Oh," he said, looking a little bit surprised. "Well, I can go, if you want," he continued. "No, don't go," I said. "Can we talk?" "Sure," I said, although I desperately wanted to say no. I had no answers for him right now. I wouldn't be able to answer if he asked what I was thinking or feeling. I didn't even know. The past few days had felt like a whirlwind of emotions, feelings, and obligations. Look, I really like you, and believe it or not, being with you the last couple of days has really helped me get through a really hard time that I probably wouldn't have been able to deal with so well on my own. It may not seem like it was a big deal to you, but it was to me, and I'll forever be thankful for that. I know there's a lot going on for you right now. I don't want to get in the middle of it or complicate things. I'll be here for you whenever you need it, okay? He said. Thanks, I said with a little smile. We sat there quietly for a while after that. In my head, I was making a pro and cons list about Josh. Some of the cons were that he had betrayed my trust all these years, that he clearly was a jealous guy, even though he had hidden it quite well in the past. He was stubborn, very stubborn, and how had he gotten that key? I think I should add game player to this con list. Every time I started to make a pro list in my head, I got distracted by Derek, who I had just realized was sitting there staring at me. What are you thinking? He asked. A million things a minute? I said jokingly. It was silent again. I started to think about the pro and con list again, but no longer about Josh. This time, it was about Derek. I thought, and the only thing I could figure out to put on his con list was he was Jesse's brother. As for the pros list, well, it was long. Just as long, if not longer, than Josh's. Derek was tall and handsome, sweet and shy, athletic and a natural leader, and truly compassionate. Oh, what was I going to do? I had to make the right choice the first time around. There was not going to be any second chances here. I hated that one of my main concerns was that if I did let myself choose Derek, Josh might do something to hurt himself again, and I couldn't let myself be the cause of that. Then it hit me. The thought had never crossed my mind before. That night that Josh had made those terrible choices, I had chosen to be with Derek. When I saw Derek sad, I knew I just had to be with him, and at that time, no matter what, it was him I was going to choose. I did like Derek. A lot. But the guilt now and responsibility that I felt because of Josh was holding me back. I realized that I loved Josh as a best friend, and truth be told, was attracted to him. However, I wasn't sure that I would ever really be able to trust him, or that I would ever be willing to deal with the kind of jealousy that he had. Just then, my attention was brought back to Derek. Hey, about what happened earlier. I think that might have been a bad time. Sorry if I caused any problems, Derek said. Yeah, the timing could have been better, I responded. Sorry, it won't happen again, he said. This made me feel bad, and without thinking, I responded. Well, since it was bad timing earlier, I think we should have a redo, just to be sure, I said, blushing. He laughed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, I said. I guess I could do that, he said teasingly. He ran his fingers through my hair and rested his hand on the back of my neck. I felt a surge of excitement race through me. As he kissed me, he pulled me in closer. It was beyond perfect. I knew this was my happy place. When I began to pull away, he pulled me back in and gave me one last little kiss. I felt as though I could melt. Well, he said, was the redo any better? No, I responded. Oh, he started to say. They were both equally as perfect, I said, laughing. Oh, of course they were, he said playfully. So what now? What do you mean? I questioned back. Where do we go from here? Or do you need some time? Well, where would you want to go from here? I responded. I could have kicked myself for saying that. I knew that I still had some figuring out to do. If it were up to me, I'd probably make you my girl right now, but it's not up to me. This is going to have to be your decision, he said. I was shocked. I hadn't expected him to lay it all out there like that. I was trying to figure out what to say when my phone vibrated. It was a text from Jessie. Are you sure you're making the right choice? I hopped up and looked around. I knew that she could see me, wherever she was. I finally spotted her off in the distance by her house. She waved. Derek glanced back to see what I was staring at. I should have guessed, he said. I swear that both of our mouths dropped when we saw Josh walk up beside her. Oh boy, I said under my breath. We could tell Jessie was saying something to Josh about us as she was pointing at us and throwing her hands up in the air. We were both shocked when Jessie shoved Josh, and a moment later, they were heading towards us. Maybe I should go, I said to Derek as I got closer. Oh no, you're not leaving me alone with those two, he he replied half jokingly. As they walked up, Jessie blurted out, "Ooh, drama, drama." Part of me wanted to duct tape her mouth shut so that she couldn't cause any more trouble, but I knew that wasn't an option. There was no duct tape around. I gulped when Josh walked up closely, put his arm around my shoulders, and whispered in my ear, "Come with me." Thankful for the chance to avoid an embarrassing scene, I nodded. I looked at Derek, and before I could speak, he said, "Have fun. I'll see you later." "Yeah," I said as Josh led me away. "You know, for agreeing to be my caregiver for a week, you aren't doing such a hot job at making things any easier," he said. Normally, at this point, I would have begun to protest in my own self-defense, but there was something about the way he said it that it didn't sound accusing. It was almost like he was jokingly pointing it out. I was going to be over it. As we walked up to his car, he slid his arm off my shoulders, opened the door, and I climbed in. I felt a little nervous as I waited for him to walk around to the driver's side. We drove down to the cliffs, where we had had so many good times. After he parked, we both got out. He leaned against his car. I stood there next to him, staring out to the water. He grabbed my hand and put it on his chest. I could feel his heart beating. "See? This is what you do to me," he said. Then he gave a little laugh and kissed my forehead. I was still silent. "Look, I know I've been a jerk, stupid, immature, whatever you want to call it," he started to say. I jumped in. "And jealous." "Yes, and a bit jealous," he said while giving me a sideways look. "What I wouldn't do for you. Look, I'm trying to apologize. Come on, say something," he pleaded. "What do you want me to say?" "That you forgive me? That you can at least try to understand?" he replied. "Fine, if you try to understand too. There's something that you should know. Derek kissed me a little bit ago, and I didn't push him away." He turned away for a moment before turning back to me. "So what are you trying to say?" he questioned. "Nothing. It was just a kiss, but I didn't want to keep that from you," I answered, scared to make eye contact with him. He took my hand and put it on his heart again. This time it was pounding. "See, and this is what happens when I even think of you as somebody else." I wasn't going to respond, but it sort of just slipped out. "I know, and that scares me," I said softly. "Losing you scares me," he responded back. He continued, "I'm willing to do anything to make it work, whatever it takes. If you'll have me, that is." Without thinking, I nodded in agreement. I was surprised how it just sort of happened. Perhaps it was due to the fact that subconsciously, I knew that this was the Band-Aid I needed in order to put all the drama to rest and to ensure Josh would be okay. He looked at me shocked. It almost seemed like he had been expecting me to turn him down. He pulled me in and kissed me. We stayed like that for a moment. Then I turned around to watch the reflection of the sun dance across the water as he held me from behind. That night, we spent the night together. This time, as more than just friends. It was truly an exhilarating night. I was both nervous and excited as he laid me down on the bed. This is what I had daydreamed about for so long. But the best part was, I didn't have to look away this time as he took off his shirt. I reached up and ran my hand over his abs. My fingers lingered for a moment before undoing the button of his pants. Although I wanted to rip his pants off, I refrained as I caressed the bulge underneath them. He pulled me up and took my shirt off. Chills ran down my body as his perfect lips kissed my neck and trailed down to my collarbone. He kissed my lips as he reached around and unhooked my bra. Before I knew it, our clothes were off. He was picking me up, and I was wrapping my legs around his waist. It was passionate, intense, and purely physical. The next day, he was acting like his old self again, the guy I had originally fallen for all those years ago. The day started out amazing. I woke up to a kiss on the cheek and breakfast in bed. After that, he climbed back in and wrapped his arms around me. I laid my head on his chest like I had so many times before, and I was thankful that I had not let this go. Just then, my phone vibrated, and he reached across me and grabbed it off the nightstand. We read the text together. It was from Jesse. It read, "I think you made a good choice, but did he happen to tell you his secret yet?" I looked at him. "What is she talking about now?" I questioned. Before he could answer, my phone vibrated again. This time it read, "Ask him about the 6 mil." "What's going on, Josh?" I asked, growing a bit impatient. "It's not that big of a deal," he said. "We'll cross that bridge when we come to it." "Whoa, you're going to start this out by keeping secrets from me?" I fired back. "Look, I just don't want it to influence your decisions," he said with a strange look on his face. How do I know that whatever it is isn't influencing your decisions? I questioned. You just have to trust that it's not. My feelings are real, not based on greed, he said. He saw the disappointment on my face. I have no idea what you're talking about. Just then, the phone vibrated again. He's probably not going to tell you. Want to meet up? Jessie wrote. Josh wrote it over my shoulder. If I go, she's probably going to tell me. You know that, right? Yeah. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. But go ahead and go if you want, he replied. I was shocked. He was so adamant about not telling me a secret, but it seemed as though he couldn't care less if she did. Fine, I'm going to go, I said, trying to see if I'd get a rise out of him. Okay, you gonna come back over when you're done? He asked. Yeah, I said, still a bit stunned. As I pulled up at the park to meet Jessie, I couldn't help but run to her. Okay, spill, what the heck is going on? I questioned. I knew you'd be dying to know, she said, laughing. Oh, here, before I forget, Derek wanted me to give you this, she continued as she handed me an envelope. What's this? I asked. I don't know, just read it later. Okay, so, I found out a while back that Josh's dad had set up a trust for him before he died. Sort of like what our mom set up for Derek and me. Except for Josh's is for a little bit more than double what Derek and I get combined. The only difference is there's a stipulation, or a requirement, if you will, that he has to fulfill before getting it. Just then I cut her off. Wait, are you talking about money? When you said $6 million, you meant $6 million? I questioned, completely shocked. Yeah, you're going to be pretty well off if you end up with him, she said with a big smile. Then it hit me. No wonder he didn't want to tell me. He wanted me to be with him for him, not for the money. I realized I was a bit offended by the thought. Wait, you said there's a requirement? I questioned. Yeah, he has to be married within 5 years of graduating from college, she replied. Wait, that means only a couple more years, I mumbled in disbelief. Don't you see? That's why I had to tell you before you get too far into it. I want you to realize that there is a chance that you may spend forever wondering if he did it to be with you, or if he did it for the money. And with that, she hugged me and said, just think on it for a while. And she walked away. I drove back to Josh's house. Well, he said as I walked in the door. Well, what? I snapped back, not sure how I felt about the situation. I couldn't get what Jessie said out of my mind. Do you understand why I didn't want to tell you? Yeah, you don't want me to always wonder if you're doing it to be with me or for the money, I said. Wait, what? Are you kidding me? Don't you think if it were about the money, I could go out and get any chick to marry me? He said in a raised voice. I don't know. I thought you'd be happy that we can give it a try now, and if it works out, if we work out, which I know that we will, we'll be well off in the future. And if you do not want to marry me at that point, then we can wait, even if it means we don't get the money. Don't you get it? The money's just an extra bonus. Maybe you haven't looked around lately, but I'm doing pretty all right on my own, he said, clearly frustrated. That was true. He had already created and grown a successful business, even owned his own home. I felt a bit silly after thinking about it for a second. You're right, sorry, but no more secrets, okay? He grabbed my hand and pulled me towards him. As he did, the letter from Derek fell out of my pocket. I had forgotten all about it. Really? He said. And no more secrets? Hey, I don't know what that is. Jessie just gave it to me, I responded defensively. Uh-huh. He replied, seeming as though he didn't believe me. Seriously, I pleaded. Okay, he said as he walked towards the kitchen. I could tell that he didn't believe it, but was trying to avoid an argument. I felt frustrated that he chose to just walk away like that. I could hear him rummaging around in the kitchen, so I sat down and opened the sealed envelope. The letter inside read, I once met the most beautiful, sweetest girl who took my breath away. She was caring, with a big heart, and went out of her way to help others. It took me a very long time to tell her how I felt, as I had never felt that way before. Perhaps, if I had had the courage to tell her sooner, or if circumstances had been different, I may have had a chance with her, the girl who meant more to me than she will ever know. Although I know it was my fault that she's not with me now, it still hurts. Hurts more than I can express. I'm going to go away for a while. As much as I don't want to, I think it would be best for us all. Remember, if you ever need anything, I'm never more than a phone call away. Until we meet again, I'm going to keep reminding myself that we never know what the future holds or what tomorrow will bring. I have to. Take care of yourself. Always, Derek. I could feel a tear in my eye as I put the letter down. I saw Josh standing in the doorway staring at me. Everything okay? Anything you want to tell me? He questioned. No, everything's fine, I said, faking a smile. I'm still your best friend above all else. You could still tell me anything, and I promise to try to keep my pride or jealousy out of it, he said as he sat down next to me. That was the best thing he could have said to me. I needed to hear that. No more secrets, I thought to myself as I silently handed him the letter. I hadn't realized, he started to say as he put his arm around me. I wasn't sure what he was referring to when he said he hadn't realized. Realized what? I wondered. 6 months went by with no word from Derek. It made me feel guilty, but I couldn't get him off my mind. Josh and I had our ups and downs, little squabbles here and there, but for the most part, things were good. However, in the back of my mind, I always wondered how Derek had been, and how things would have been if I had been with him instead. Finally, one day when Josh was away on business, I gave in, had a moment of weakness, and texted Derek. It wasn't anything bad. I had just been trying so hard to be strong and have no contact with him, in an attempt to make it easier on everyone. This sort of felt like a fail. All I wrote was, Hi stranger, it's been a while. How are you? A few days went by with no response. The days turned into weeks and eventually into months. I realized that it was silly of me to have expected a response. He left to get over it, to move on, and that's probably just what he did. A few more months passed, and finally, I was getting to the point that he seldom crossed my mind. As fate would have it, Jessie sent me a text to let me know that she and Derek were both going to be in town to visit their mom's grave. The upcoming weekend marked 2 years since her passing. That night, on my way home, I felt a deep longing as I saw Derek's truck parked outside. The next day, I had a moment of weakness once again. As luck would have it, Josh was out of town again. I spent the morning getting all dolled up and proceeded down to Derek's house. I was surprised to find his truck gone and the house locked and all closed up. It looked as though no one was planning on coming back for quite some time. I text Jessie. What happened? I'm at your house. I thought you were going to be here. She wrote back. I was only staying for the day. Derek was going to be staying for a couple, but when I told him that I had let you know that he was going to be here, I think he may have expected you to stop by yesterday. He didn't say anything, but you could tell something was bothering him. And then, out of nowhere, he decided he wasn't going to stay after all. I wasn't sure if missing him was a good thing or not. What if I had run into him? What if I wouldn't have been able to walk away from his charm this time? Maybe it was better that I didn't see him. Something deep inside was telling me that it would have only complicated things. Yeah, it was best that I didn't see him. But if that were true, what was this feeling inside of me that just wouldn't go away? Oh God, how it wouldn't go away. Why? I couldn't help but wonder. Why did I feel this way if he had made the right choice, if I had made the right choice? Lately, his business had been picking up, requiring more and more business trips. I was a little taken back with the realization that him being gone so much didn't faze me at all. At first, he used to take me everywhere with him. It was fun, exciting, and for the first few months, it was all I could think about. But as time progressed, it grew more and more tiresome. I knew I could trust him. That had nothing to do with the way I was feeling. What was I feeling? What was I going to do? When I went home, I was startled to find my roommates waiting for me. Finally, they said as I came in. They told me that we were going to have a ladies' night. It had been too long since we had all gone out. They had gotten us VIP for the night at our favorite club. Josh wasn't due back for another day, so I agreed. Getting lost in the music with just the girls sounded like a good way to take my mind off things. We headed to the mall to get some hot new outfits for the night. After only 2 hours of shopping, we came home totally satisfied and ready to get dolled up. I did 2 of my roommates' makeup before I started getting ready for myself. We took a picture before we left. All the girls commented on how cute it was and how we were ready to do this. There ended up being a few of us going, so we were forced to take 2 cars. I didn't drive, which was unusual for me. We got to the club at 11 p.m., and by 11:15, we had our first drinks. The music was loud, the beat was strong. We had our backs to the crowd as we were thanking the bartender for the free drinks. Just then, I felt a hand on my waist, and a voice in my ear. "You look beautiful," it said. I tried to turn to see who it was, but The club was packed. I felt like there were 1,000 unfamiliar faces surrounding me. My roommate saw the look on my face and asked, "What's wrong?" I told her what had happened. She laughed and told me not to worry. We would find Prince Charming by the end of the night. I laughed. That hadn't been what I meant. I wasn't trying to tell her that I was looking for a guy tonight. I was just curious as to who it had been, nothing more. One of my other roommates grabbed my hand and dragged me out onto the dance floor. Immediately, we got lost in the music. We were laughing loudly, singing along to the song, and pushing guys away left and right. It was the perfect distraction. I was having a lot of fun. Then, a love song came on. Of course, we sang along, but it reminded me of a reality that wasn't mine, and all the feelings I'd been having. Just then, someone on the second level, which was more of a lounge area, caught my eye. The lights were flashing, so it was hard to make out his face at first, but the one thing I could tell for sure was that he was staring. One of my roommates grabbed me and yelled, "Oh my God, you know who that?" But I couldn't hear the rest of what she said. Throughout all of this, I never looked away from the guy on the second floor, and he never looked away from me. The song changed, and they switched the lighting slightly. Oh my God. I realized what my roommate had been trying to tell me. Alright, Midnight Readers, that's a wrap. That's where we're going to finish up for today. We might be wrapping this up next reading, so tune in and have a wonderful night.